Welcome back to GA Fan TV. Donegal 13 points, Kerry 1-9. Donegal start the National Football League with a victory. They start the Paddy Carr era with a victory in their own backyard against the All-Ireland champions. The All-Ireland champions have been beaten in the opening day of the National Football League. A dramatic, brilliant late point from Paddy McBrearty seals the victory for Donegal. And it's a massive, massive win. A massive win for Donegal because, relegation, I think, was certainly on the agenda for most people really coming into this game with Donegal this season. I think a lot of people looking at Donegal, looking at the changes, no Michael Murphy, no Peadar Mogan, change in management, and even looking at the side today as well. There were a lot of changes really in the team, a lot of fresh faces in there. The likes of McGroddy, for example, Caelan McColgan, who was sensational for Donegal, scored 3 points and a fantastic point sort of in the closing couple of minutes of the game. You have Conor O'Donnell, who established himself last season, but he's obviously a bit more of a starter now. Jamie Brennan coming back into the team as well. Hugh McFadden in there. So a lot of changes, a lot of fresh faces in the side, a lot of players I wouldn't be too familiar with. And to get that victory against Kerry is massive. And look, for Kerry, obviously a lot of changes. Nowhere near their best start 15. No David Clifford, no Sean O'Shea, no Paddy Clifford. Realistically, they're looking at their team here, probably missing 7, 8, maybe 9 players. Obviously didn't have Shane Ryan starting in goal as well. So they were missing a lot of players that would start for Kerry in their best starting 15. Weren't available today due to club commitments, and obviously with it being the opening day of the National Football League as well. But you have to give credit to Donegal because there was a moment in the game in the first half where obviously Darragh Moynihan gets the goal. Brendan McCole just fumbles with the ball, completely loses his grasp, his grip on the ball. It breaks loose at Darragh Moynihan. I've no idea where Sean Patton is. I don't know if he nipped off to the Jacks or something, or whether he was gone off. I have no idea where he was, but it was just an open goal for Darragh Moynihan, puts it into the empty net. And Kerry had hit a couple of points after that, like Paul Murphy, Tom O'Sullivan, and Killian Spillane all got on the score sheet. They hit 1-3 without reply. Donegal were just looking a little bit, they just weren't quite up to the test, up to the speed. And you were thinking, Kerry are motoring pretty well here. And they have this game. All they have to do is manage the game, keep ticking over the scoreboard, and they'll get the victory. They'll come out of here with the 2 points. And for large parts of the game, they were in front. But they just didn't really, look like Kerry were sort of in autopilot. They didn't really look like this game mattered too much to them, even in the closing minutes. They didn't really put their foot on the accelerator and go for the game. I felt like they kind of just not necessarily let Donegal win the game, but they didn't go for it, you know what I mean? And that was very un-Kerry-like. And obviously with a lot of those players not being there, with the fact that they were All-Ireland champions last year, and a lot of players obviously away, with club commitments and everything else. Bound to the cohesion wasn't quite there from a Kerry perspective. A lot of fresh faces in there, players we would be familiar with, like Tony Brosnan, for example, has been a player that's done very well at club level in the Kerry Club Football Championship, but probably hasn't quite, broken, done the business for Kerry just yet. He was fairly quiet, didn't get a score in the game. Darragh Roach, I thought, played well for Kerry in a full forward, scored 3 points. Probably didn't really get the service in the second half. I don't think Kerry really created enough. I'd like to see the statistics on that. Killian Spillane's a player who, he's fantastic coming off the bench in big games. He makes such a big impact, but starting-wise, it just hasn't quite happened for him. And he's a player that a lot of Kerry football or Kerry fans will speak about as a player that you expect to make that step up and really sort of cement his position in the starting 15. Aside from a point in the game, he was fairly quiet again and wasn't really too involved. He, a bit of support play and tracking back and everything else and a bit more defensive work, but generally speaking, wasn't too much in the game. Darragh Moynihan, aside from his goal, didn't really do too much. Adrian Spillane obviously gets subbed off with about 20 minutes to go. Micheál Burns, not too much. Midfield, Jack Barry, I remember him picking up a silly yellow card at one point. Not really, it just wasn't quite there from a Kerry perspective. And I think there's a running team with the 2 match reactions I did yesterday. And when I watched the Roscommon Tyrone and Cork Meath game a little bit later on, I think I'll probably say similar again, which is it's the opening day of the league and teams just aren't quite up to full speed, full fitness just yet. And you could clearly see that with Kerry. But from a Donegal perspective, like, fair play to them. Like, they fought hard. You know, they didn't give in. They didn't bow down. They stuck at it. You know, Caelan McColgan, lovely player I'm not too familiar with, but he was my man of the match personally. 3 points. I thought he was fantastic. Really good performance from his perspective. Conor O'Donnell with 3 points. Very good as well. Young McCroddy, Johnny McCroddy, I think is his name. He scored a wonderful point just towards the end of the first half. Sold his man for a dummy, curled it over the bar. It was a lovely score. So, you know, a few new lads coming into that Donegal side. Midfield, I thought they were fairly solid as well. Like, won the midfield battle. Got a lot of turnovers. They, you know, especially in the second half, they were running Kerry into errors and, you know, just causing a couple of problems for that Kerry attack. And I thought that was very impressive as well. I suppose the big thing is for Kerry, like, Paul Murphy hit 2 points as well. Like, I thought he'd a fairly decent game. Rory Murphy, who came off the bench, got on the score sheet as well. But would you look at it, like, for Kerry fans and think, you know, it's a massive opportunity for these lads, your Killian Splans, your Tony Brosnans, Micheál Burns, a massive chance for them to, like, stake a claim to get into the team, because we all know once David Clifford, Sean O'Shea, Paddy Clifford, when they're available at the business end of the championship season, they're starting. So, you know, it's a massive opportunity for those other lads to put themselves into a position to come into the team. You know, we had this with Dublin down the years, you know, where, you know, at the start of the league, a few lads would be missing and everything else. And during the 6 in a row spell, and I always remember when Con O'Callaghan burst onto the scene, looked very good in the league, and he sort of kept his place. And that's what you want to see when, you know, at the start of the league is the sort of, you know, reserve lads coming into the team. You want to see an impact, and just didn't quite get that from a Kerry perspective. Plenty of comments flying in here. Test case says Meath beat Cork 3-14 by 19 points. Yeah, I'm going to watch that. Just watching the TG Carter Verde coverage. I'm going to crack into that game and the Roscommon game as well. There'll be match reactions out. Huge win for Meath. I mean, that is a sensational result. And same here as well for Roscommon. 3 goals past Tyrone, 5-point victory. Huge win there for Roscommon. I did predict Roscommon to get the victory. Didn't expect it to be as comfortable in the end. Obviously, with Lake Olin there as well. Massive result. And yeah, Tyrone could be in big trouble, in my opinion. Bad result for the rest of the league, says Rommel. It's early in the league. Big win for Donegal, but Kerry will improve, get players back. Nice weekend of football, says Mead, man. Yeah, absolutely. You know, great to see the results coming in, and, you know, shocks and trills and spills and everything else. It's what makes the league so exciting, in my opinion. And yeah, look, from a Kerry perspective, like, you know, you don't hit the panic button or anything like that. There's no massive worries really from a Kerry perspective. Like, a lot of lads to come back into the team, a lot of players to come back in, you know, and still a long way to go. And, you know, what I would say though, from a Kerry perspective, is they play Monaghan next weekend, and you know, you want to, like, how long do you leave Clifford out for? How long do you leave those lads out for? Do you slowly introduce them back in? Because, you know, if Kerry were to get beat by Monaghan next week, all of a sudden then you're thinking Kerry might be in a spot of bother. Do you know what I mean? Because they still have to play the likes of your Mayos, your Galways, you know, some tough teams in this division. And they could be in a spot of bother if they don't get a result at Monaghan next week. But I do think they will at home. I think they will get a result, and I do think they will win that game. But yeah, no need for the panic button. And for Donegal, like, they weren't overly brilliant. Like, both sides were quite sloppy at times. And Kerry, if they had to put their foot on the gas, I think they would have won this game. But I think for the Donegal supporters, I've seen them cheering the result at the end. Like, it's huge for them, massive result for them. I can't remember the last time they beat Kerry. Definitely a good few years ago anyway. But massive result from a Donegal perspective. And for Kerry, obviously hugely disappointing. But, you know, look, they'll certainly bounce back. They have the players to come back into the team. Relegation now is impossible to call. Donegal were tipped. Not every team will take points off Kerry. Yeah, and it was probably timing as well. Like, playing Kerry in the open weekend in your own backyard with the amount of players that Kerry had missing, it's probably perfect timing really to play them. And it'll be interesting to see with Donegal, like, you know, in the next kind of couple of weeks. Huge result for them. You know, I still do think they'll be in around the relegation battle despite this victory, but, you know, this gives them a huge boost now going into the rest of the season. Yeah, cheers anyone who tuned in. Hit the like button and subscribe. We will be doing a reaction after watching the deferred coverage on TG Car for Roscommon, Tyrone and Cork Meath. So I'll do reactions after both of those games. Obviously, huge wins for either counties there in both Roscommon and Meath. Certainly results that a lot of people didn't see coming, especially that Meath victory and Colm O'Rourke. I mean, what a massive result that is for Meath, who knows, maybe could be in a bit of a promotion race themselves now. But yeah, we will discuss that game later on. So cheers anyone who tuned in, and I'll see you all later.